Smart Office. This is our training demo, our training database. So, stop me, ask questions as we go along if there's certain things that you want to do that you can't do. So, I talked about dashboards. How many of you have these dashboards set up? Just a couple? Okay. So a dashboard, you take a look, here we've got on our home screen. A dashboard is just basic information that's being pulled from within Smart Office, and in this case, from the internet. So you can get news feeds. So CNN, we've got information from Smart Office. Okay. We've got the birthday list. So this pulls all of your clients who are having a birthday within the next 15 days. This can be customized. It can be changed. If you want birthdays in the next 30 days, if you want birthdays not this month, but next month's birthdays, so that you can run labels and get out cards, you can do that. Your activity list for the day. Okay?
Just on this, you got the training there, right? On the bottom.
Right here.
Yeah, right. So if you forget something from today, but let's do a list of everybody who's 65. Can you just show quickly how we find in that training menu the steps to go through?
Okay. Well, I would tell you to call the practice management team, but there is the help center, and there are a couple different places that you can access it. From that screen was one, and basically what you would do is search for. Now you can't search for a report or, for 65. So you would say create report.
Sure.
Then this pulls back all the pages that are within the Smart Office help system. So dynamic reports, creating a report. You would click on that and then follow those instructions. But I'm telling you, so much easier just to call the practice manager. Okay?
Yeah, that's a lot of reports.
Yes.
But it's a dynamic report, right?
Yes. Okay? But there are other ways of finding that information. So we'll get through these dashboards. If you take a look, one of these dashboards says opportunities, general. So, general opportunities, this is where I was talking about the pending death claim review. So these are any policies where there is a death claim reported at Penn Mutual that has not yet been paid. So you would just, any of these reports, you want to open them, you click on the tab to open the report. There's only one death claim in this training database, but this is when you would look at this and then you would go to the client record. So I would go to Brittany Silverman and then mark her from a client to deceased and see. I want to go back to the home screen. Okay. Other types of opportunities that we have in here. We've got the churn conversion. People who are age 59 with qualified accounts. People who are currently age 69 who have a qualified annuity. So if you want to get ready for their RMDs, you just open up that report. Potential college planning. This identifies parents in your database who have children. The investment value is 0, and I pulled anybody with the life value under like $1,000 or something, life cash value. So this way you know, because you've linked those key relationships, you've linked the children to their parents. These are telling you these are the children in your database. And here are their parents and the parents' phone number. Who are you going to call about getting them a college fund or setting something up?
Karen, I'm sorry, these are preset ones, right?
These are preset, and I'm going to show you how to get them. Okay? Potential retirees. So this is anyone age 62 to 65. They're about to retire. You open up that report. Here I've got a list of 74 people in my database that meet that criteria. I can just...
Sorry, I was going to say, we had one that had a 59.5 report. So for those who are doing wealth management, we could set up 59.5 where in-service distributions on 401ks, after 401ks, you would pop up so that your clients who are 59, you get the opportunity to call them and say, look, in 6 months you're eligible to pull 90% of your 401k out. Kevin Kennedy's not in here, right? And again, provides an opportunity to talk to that client where you thought these assets were tied up and they're not. They're accessible at 59 and a half.
Right. And that's the kind of report that we really would help you with, because that's a little bit more advanced, because it's an advanced filter and saying, okay, pull everybody who is age 59 with a birthday 6 months, or something like that, okay? So, you know, we're not going to tell you what you need. I mean, we've set up these reports that are based on the most common requests that we get from our advisors in the field. But there are a lot more that can be very, very specific to what you do, and you can set up customized tabs or dashboards in your system that are very specific to you. You can create your customized ones, or you can customize what's there. If you like what's here and you just want to tweak it a little bit, that's very easy for us to do. Okay, but right from here, if I wanted to, I could come in and say I want to tag all the records, and come in here and say activity options, mass task creation, and this is what I was talking about. If you've got prospects, so these are all potential retirees. So I can come in here, I can either keep it assigned to me, I'm logged in as John Horner, or if I have an assistant and I want to assign it to my assistant, I can say I want to assign this call list to my assistant Sarah, and say, invite to or I'm going to do a retirement seminar, right? And then I can create the tasks, or actually I'll do the distribution first, because I don't want to call all 74 people all at one shot. I'm going to say, okay, starting tomorrow, so after one day, and it's Friday, so I'll do it Monday, so starting Monday, every day, so I'll leave that blank, I want 5 tasks, 5 calls on my calendar, and I'm going to click create, say, okay, that's simple on creating 74 activities on my calendar to call all these people, to talk to them, or invite them to a retirement center. And that's just verifying that the activities have been created, and I'll close it. I could stop there, but just to show you what has happened. If I go to the week view calendar, next week, these are all my calls. Okay? So that quickly, I put together that call list.
Show us again how you did that.
I went to the report for potential retirees, and I've got 74 people, so I just tagged them all. Click on this button at the top, tag all. I went under menu. There's an option for activity options. I said mass task creation. And said retirement seminar.
I got it.
And then I said I'm going to start in 3 days from now. I'm going to start these calls. And I'm going to put 5 calls a day on my calendar.
Just does it alphabetical order, whatever, is that how it works?
Yeah. It's just randomized.
Can you quickly print this with relevant data, this list?
This list, to print it,
Make it red.
just right click and print. Now I can, if I'm going to print things often, notice what I did, I'm going to highlight this, I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag that to my toolbar so that my print button is always on my toolbar, and I'll just hit print list. I want to print them all. And what's going to happen is it's going to print a PDF report that I can print, I can send somewhere, I can take it with me, whatever I need to do. Okay. You can also export this to Excel. Dave?
Kara, sorry. So if you go back to the calendar day, right, so that call list for 3 days.
Technical difficulties.
That's all right.
No. a minute here.
I got it set up. Yeah.
Let's see it. Okay, so you wanted to see the calendar list again?
Yeah, so when you go to the calendar, just for people on teams or even people who are, you know, work with a junior person, like, so you create that list, right, you want to track it down. So if you go in the list, I was talking to Andrew about this, where if you open up one of the tasks or activities, so when that pops up, and it's going to show who the participants are on that left side where you are now. So as I was saying, Andrew, if there's 3 people on there, the best thing is that if Andrew then makes that call, he can go into options. And this is the way to track, right? So if I'm giving names or somebody's giving names and saying, hey, look, I want this person to call for me. When Andrew makes that call, when he goes into options, so he, right? Because then what we got to find out is what happened as a result of that. So it should say status, which is active. If he goes status done, then
Want to show
it's,
the activity tracking?
yeah. So then it pops up that screen where what happened as a result of that call.
Okay. So what David's talking about is in here, there's this column, it says mark done. It's called the activity tracking tool. So I click on that, so I'm getting an option. Contact was made or contact was not made. So contact was made if I want to enter a scheduled appointment. I'm going to follow up. It's going to just walk me through every time that I close an appointment, it's going to ask me for that follow-up. Do I want to follow up call in 6 months? Do I want to schedule an appointment? You always want to use the activity outcome tracking because then that way it not only makes sure that you're scheduling follow-ups for every single one of your clients on a regular basis, but it also keeps track of what happened in that appointment. And then, as you said, if you're teaming, or even if you're not, you can have just a log, okay, this was done this week, this is what needs to be done next week, this is what this person did, and here are the results. Okay? There are other ways of doing this as well. And this is when we get into a little bit of the more advanced features, but you can set up what's called, it's a workflow basically. So if you have somebody that you want to make sure that you are calling them 3 or 4 times a year, there's a workflow that we can put into your system that will say, okay, every time you close an activity and mark it as done, it's going to 90 days later add another activity just for that call. You don't have to create the activity. What you do have to do is mark the first activity as done. Say, yes, I made this phone call, and then 3 months later, it's going to be on your calendar for another phone call. So, and it's just going to go in a cycle.
It won't come up your activity list though until you've done anyway though, right?
Until you click done. Because if you forget to do it, it's just going to move to the next day.
That'll be 90 days from that day.
90 days from the day you actually click done.
Done, got it.
Karen, I'm sorry, do you have to, is there somewhere you have to mark where it rolls forward? Or does it automatically roll forward?
When you mark it as done, if you've got the
Field.
workflow part set up, and that's something that we do,
Okay.
and I've actually loaded it in so that the very basic one is available to everybody here right now for a quarterly. So that's available day one. But you might want to customize it because I know I got the workflow where somebody wants, you know, a meeting and 2 calls, you know, for fee-based, and then for financial planners, and then different ones based on tiers. So that's something that we need to customize in the actual database. So that's when it gets into the more advanced features.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Because we had this issue a couple years ago, remember, where like we set in a note, or maybe that's what, I think maybe that's what we did. We were setting those notes, and then they weren't rolling over. So fiscal officer, you realize that, hey, you were supposed to call this person last Monday, you never got to it, but it never kind of followed.
Never moved.
Yeah.
There
Is that
are,
because of an activity?
it depends on how it's set up. So any task that's marked as a call, a to-do, or depending on what that subtype is set to roll. But if you create a custom task type, it's not going to be automatically set to roll until you flag it, and that's something that's within your settings. So, so,
Can we quickly find out what the criteria are for these reports? Like you said, retirees was 62 to 65. How about term conversion? What's the
so
criteria
the
for
term
that?
conversion criteria, there's this little funnel right at the very last.
Okay.
You click on that, and so term conversion is the policy date is in the next 90 days. It's ignoring the year. So it's any term policy within the next 90 days.
Thank you.
Anniversary date next 90, that is still active. Okay?
That's just a blanket.
Blanket. Yeah. Because any of the term products in Penn Mutual from 2007 on are convertible at any time, but some of the older term products are not. So those you would need to go to your client activity alerts or producer's place and look to see whether or not it's within the conversion period. Although that is another enhancement that we are coming out with the early part of 2016 to be able to pass the conversion date.
So can you set it up to have term policies that are expiring, so it's a 10-year term and you're in the 9th year, you have that field set up?
That is, we need that date. Because we've tried to do it, say, based on the policy date, and if it has, we have a hard time, we can do it with some of the newer products, those that are from 2007 on, because the plan name has like guaranteed 10. So we can say, okay, if it's a 10-year term, if there's something that tells us that it's a 10-year term, we can say, okay, if this policy is 10 years old, or actually 9.5 years old, is what we would do. So it can be done.
It took me a whole day to figure out.
You should have called that number.
Hey, not call
It's
us.
actually, the easiest way to do it, you sell a policy today, it's 15 years, you set a note 14 years and 9 months
There you
later
go.
saying, I gotta call this client because the term policy is expired. That's the way you do it. And it takes 2 minutes to do it if you have the policy.
He's hired too. Right? Okay.
Shoot.
All right. Now, I also said that this is just basic opportunities, things that other advisors have asked for. You can change it. You can change any report that's on here. You can add to this. So if I wanted to add to this, I can just come in here. I know that there's a report for Worth clients. I don't know if anybody here does anything with the Worth campaigns.
What?
No?
Yeah, I send them out, but it's like I use it from the Penn Mutual site, and it's so much harder to do it from that site than it is to do
Okay.
this.
So what I'm doing is, oops. So I added this Worth report. So I can change my dashboard at will. So now I've added that report. I've got a list of all females in the database with the number of children, age, marital status. So if I wanted to do one of the campaigns of people with children, I could say, greater than 0. It pulls up anyone with children. If I wanted to say divorced women with children, whoops, I can pull up that list. Okay? Because the Worth campaign does break it up into segments based on age, marital status, different criteria, those with children.
But you have to have put divorced in the client profile.
Yes, you do. For this time. So we've got quite a few reports out here. So I jumped to the opportunities. There's also reviews. So here, now I'll get into more detail on the client record in a minute, but if you are populating the review date, you can say, okay, annual reviews due in the next 60 days. Reviews that are not completed, any reviews that are scheduled. This is all driven based on a combination of the review date on the client record and whether or not there's a calendar activity in your calendar marked as an annual review. if you do that, this dashboard will work. So you can come in and say, okay, of all of my clients, who needs a review? And I've got my list. I can either then take them, I can either do what I did before and create that call list, because I can say, okay, anybody in November, I want to tag the people in November and set up the call so that I can do that review in November. And we can change the criteria of this report and pull in people from December if you want a wider lead time. So it will identify for you.
What has to be in the client record in order to pull this up?
In order to pull this up, let's just go to the client record. So if we take a look at a client record, now, with this, I have customized my view a little bit, because if you remember, the view that I showed in the PowerPoint, it was just 2 columns. So I've pulled in more information so that it's a more consolidated viewpoint. Because remember, Smart Office is very customizable. But in order for that to work, the review date is right here, right over there. Gotta click up. Not working. All right. But the review date is right there.
You have to manually put that in.
Yes. So if I would recommend using the anniversary date if the client has one policy, but if they have multiple policies, you want to choose one. You pick your date. Okay? But while we're on this, like I said, this is customizable. You can change what you see. I've changed this view so that I not only see the client demographics, personal information, but I've got information for the custom fields in here, and also my Smart Pad. The Smart Pad is where you can keep track of free-form node information. Okay, so you're on this record. As Kristen said, as I'm saying, you want to keep Smart Office open. You don't have to work in it all day long, but you want to keep it open so that you do a little bit here, a little bit there.
How do you pull SmartPad into your?
Smart Pad into here. Well, I would tell you to call us, but what it is there is this page layout option.
Okay.
So you choose the page layout option, and then you have to create a page layout, which is what I did. And the reason I did that is because we have heard a lot of complaints that there's a lot of wasted space in Smart Office. So I changed it from 2 columns to 3 columns. Okay?
Sorry, Karen.
Don't be.
Another good piece that we use is the KYC tab, which I don't know if anybody uses that or not, but it's Know Your
I
Customer.
would set that up.
Well, so this is something that everybody, especially if you're doing HDK business, this tab, when you open it up, it keeps their driver's license, their issue expiration date, their salary, their position, their job. So when you guys have, we have to fill out that HDK form, it's got all the information on one page.
And that might be a good option for the estate plan.
One more time, Andrew.
Do you manually put that in there, or is it pop?
Well, if you, it's, whether you do it on this, I would suggest you do it on that page, because then it fills in all the information on the front page. It's just one page.
That's very true.
You can fill out, you don't have to go to address, click add, click, it'll do it on one page, then it fills all the rest of the spots.
Right.
What does it stand
And we
for?
can always do a WebEx or something. Know your client.
Know your customer.
Know your- yeah, whatever it is. You gotta know them. Okay? So, one of the other things that I had
No, I
done,
was asking if you manually.
you know, you might want, you can either use the client or the subtype for categorizing. Some people like to go a little bit in more detail. Categorize by service line. So you can use the category and you can use a tier if you want. How long has this person been a client? You can populate that, but again, or use the reviews. Now, we also have in here what's called an opportunity. So an opportunity is the workflows that I was talking about. So I had mentioned, you know, making sure that every time, whenever you set up a client, if you want to call them on a quarterly basis, in order to do that, you would just come in here, you have your client record. So once you set up the client record, if you want to call that person every 90 days and make sure it's always on your calendar, I'm going to click this button and I'm going to choose quarterly. So there's a quarterly review process that I have in place. I'm going to say, okay. By doing that, it added an initial quarterly review call automatically to my calendar. Now, when I mark this as done,
Is that because your review date was the 19th?
no, that's just because I did it today. And I had, the way I have this set up is I dummied it up, and I wanted to make sure that it showed up on the calendar. So, okay. So, I'm going to say again, contact was made, and I'm just going to mark it as done. I can put in my notes, you know, whatever notes you have, whatever they want to do. I can either create another appointment right from here, but if I just mark it as done and say okay, 90 days from now, I've got to do my math quick. So if I go to January, now this is the month view calendar. Oh, here it
It's
is,
right
the
there.
William Penn quarterly review call. So if I just go to this day, here's the, automatically adds it. So that when I mark this one is done, there's the call. I mark it as done again. It's going to add it to the same day because it's 90 days from the day I marked it as done. So 90 days from today. So you will see it pop up yet another. So one flag, it's done, but it added another call. And it will keep doing that every single time you mark that activity as done. So that particular call, until you stop working with this client, every 90 days they will get a phone call. Or if a task will be on your calendar to call.
So now this calendar syncs with the Outlook calendar?
Yes. Now, we do recommend that you don't sync tasks.
Okay.
That causes a lot of aggravation. Because with Smart Office, the Smart Office task list, the date changes every day. So if you don't mark something as done, the date becomes tomorrow's date. Which means if you synced it yesterday, it has yesterday's date. Then it will have today's date and tomorrow's date. So it never, when you mark it as done, it never syncs up because the dates are different. So you don't want to sync tasks. But you can see your tasks in Smart Office anywhere. So, we talked a lot about the dashboards. Everybody know how to add them, or do you want to see them? How to add them?
Let's see it.
Okay. So, usually the first time you log in, you'll be prompted, it'll give you this little plus sign. If you've logged in and not added dashboards, you're going to see this little plus sign that'll be over on the left-hand side. You click this. What this is it's a virtual library of the dashboards that we have available. So, anything that starts with an A means that it was designed for the advisors and their assistants. So business overview, that's just reports that are out there that just give you totals, all your life insurance in force, all of the annuities, or all the investments, your total value, okay, assets under management. Conservation, that gives you a list of all the policies that have lapsed in the last 60 days. Some of them, legitimate lapses, some of them you might want to try and conserve. Hopefully, you'll look at the pending lapse report in order to try to conserve it, because that's when it's in the grace period. So we are giving you that information. Premium coming due. Now, if you want to add these dashboards, you just highlight it. So I'll just click the conservation, and I'll click create. That pushes those reports on my homepage for me. Okay?
Can you change which ones, like the home, like if you want the first one to come up to be the opportunities? And you
Oh,
move
the
them?
order of the tabs, don't I wish. No, right now you can't.
Okay.
What it does is, for the most part, it will put based on the order that you load them. So if in here, I put the home on my dashboard first.
So you
Then I
could
did the-
unload them and then load them in the order you want?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You can do that. Now, I will tell you that once you start to get a whole ton of dashboards, like if you fill up this, because this happens to me once in a while, because I think we probably have every dashboard loaded on our smart offices. Sometimes they'll get reordered a little bit. But if you've got 5, 6 or less, it's the order you load them in and it gets there. So, and like I said, you can build your own. You can call us if you want other dashboards. If you want to say, okay, I want to see a list of, I want a dashboard that has just my A clients, and then I want a separate report of my B clients. You can do that so that you can very easily identify them. If you say, okay, I want a report that I can go to that has everybody that I have flagged because I work in Worth, I want to know everybody that I have flagged to receive the Worthwise newsletter. We can have a report that will automatically pull that information for you. And actually, I had mentioned that earlier, as far as labels, right? Somebody wanted to see labels. So you would be able to come in here, run the report, just open it, tag whoever is intended or whoever needs to get the labels, and this is the icon here. So correspondence, if I click on correspondence, I'm going to say all the tag records. Now you can do all records, that would take forever. But here I can say I want to print a label. So if I want to print a label, I can just say, okay, next. And then it's going to pull up all the labels that are in the database. So Avery label 3x10, I can pull this up. That's where I want to choose. And then this is going to start generating the label for me. Okay, it's going to tell me anybody where I do not have an address. Yes,
Is there a way to add other labels?
yes, there is. But you do have to contact us to do it because it has to be added at the system level office in order so that it flows down for labels. So, but there's quite a few that are already out there.
So you basically have to know what the label is that you're going to use before you even
Yes.
attempt to do this. And then, so then it just will print everybody with an address. You say, okay,
Yes.
and then what happens? So then you print it to the printer that you have. And obviously the labels are all
Yes.
right there. Okay, that's
So
pretty
if
cool.
I were to hit print, and I don't want to do it because
Let's
it
do
does take a
preview.
few minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to see
That'll
what they
take a
look
few
like,
minutes.
yeah.
Okay.
Although
We
it looks
can
like
do that.
there's not a lot of addresses in there because
It's a document database. I've got a lot of stuff dumped out.
on the.
That's true. What Sandy's pointing out is that you do have the ability to create labels for
Oh,
households.
beautiful thing.
Okay? So then right from here, you can just then be able to print out your labels. Cool. Okay. And it will keep a record if you choose to do something different. It's still going. Cancel. Okay. So now when I work from Smart Office, I really do work from the dashboards, which is why you see me, I keep going back to the dashboards. Okay? So other dashboards I talked about reviews, we talked about the opportunities, what you can do with workflows. If you're using workflows, we do have this pipeline that is available that will keep track if you are doing, whether it's a term conversion and you have a campaign. It'll keep track if you put those clients into that campaign. Okay?
So you can do like an event. So you have an event,
Exactly.
and say it's what came in the event. you can add
Exactly.
that.
And a set is actually an ideal, and you can take the set and push it to a campaign. So whether it's a client appreciation event, you can have it and it'll track it for you. Okay? one that is not out there by default, we should probably put it out there by default, is prospect tracking. So this is a customized one that I just put on last night that will just pull anybody who is a prospect so that you can scroll through and see what you talked about, what they need, the last time that you talked to them. So in this case, it would be like, okay, I haven't talked to Rona since I talked to her in September. So I might not need to follow up, but then you can just scroll down and find, maybe there's somebody that you forgot about from back in May.
So that's a dashboard, my prospects.
This is a prospect list.
So if you go
And
to
I
a,
created a dashboard out.
so if you go to an event and you get like 5 business cards, so you can put them into Smart Office and just type the prospect and then set up the dashboard.
Yes.
And then that'll just, and then you can just write a note about how you met them, and who they are.
And the easiest way to do that, I would just come in here, I've got my list of 5, right? I can come in here and say contact. I want to add a new contact. All right, here I'm going to put Sandy. So I'm adding Sandy. I'm going to make the type prospect. That's all I really need. Now, I can either continue adding information, I can do save and new or save and close. Now, if I do save and close, it's just going to open that record for me and I can immediately start putting in.
Yeah, what you got from the business card that you got. And then you can put how you met them and where you met them
And
or
your
whatever.
notes.
Okay.
And because I've coded her as a prospect, just doing that will ensure that when I come back to that prospect list, there she is.
Because this, I would use this. I would actually commit to using this. Because instead, I put all those people in my Outlook.
Right,
And
and the thing
it's-
is, trying to find them.
And then I don't remember who it even was. You know, that I have people in my Outlook, I don't even know who they are.
Okay.
So, yeah, so this is a really good tool. So I
First
finally, I
step.
got one thing that I could actually do myself as a person.
Well, you still have to set up the tab. How do you set up the tab? You say, maybe
Well-
it's not in there.
It can be here, it can be set up in there within the hour.
What do you mean set up? It's not, I can't just
Because
go
it's-
in there right now and put a prospect in and label them as a
You
prospect.
can put them in there, yeah.
Just add it to the
It won't have
999
tab.
database.
Usually
You can go in and-
sorted then by
Where she
process.
showed us that when you go in and you want to add these tabs up here on your dashboard.
Yeah,
You just have to go add that tab on your dashboard.
yeah, I can do, I have the ability to add
But
the
you
tab.
can't, because it's not in there yet. That's what I'm saying.
Wait, the prospects-
It's going to be there in about 10 minutes, so,
Oh, so that wasn't,
Can you also go to detailed search
yes,
Yes.
and pull up prospects,
Yeah.
and then every person you labeled in there as
Search by
prospect is going to pull up.
exactly.
Dave, you're so smart.
He is. He's actually been using this probably longer than I have. So the other thing, this is.
I mean, because this
just
is
a
like,
tab.
we meet people all the time. That's our job,
Right,
to meet
exactly.
people. And this is a very nice tool for an advisor to track who you
Those
met
are
and
career
what to
builders,
do.
they're Project 200.
Yeah,
so
no,
put
that's
them
a,
in,
it's a nice tab.
Right?
Quick
So
question.
the
All right,
other
so
way
now
you
it's
can do it-
there, it's there.
It's
In
there.
10 minutes, in 10
In
minutes.
10 minutes, it's
Well,
in.
in here, it is there. It is there now. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're differentiating, so I do a lot of tiering of clients, prospects like tier 1 or else, you would just suggest this, just do a filter in that as opposed to making another tab, correct?
You can, and that's what Dave was talking
Yeah.
about, because right from here, you're on, if you go to your search criteria,
Yeah,
contact, you
two
go to
type of
detailed
tier,
search,
yeah.
right here, you can get really detailed in this. So the simple way is just to come in here, pull up the prospect list, and you're going to get that same list.
Right, so now you can do like, you can do tiers and one, you can do whatever you want, I know that. so.
You can do a lot. So, and you can get really detailed. So if you want to pull up, if you're going to, say you're going out to,
New Jersey or something. If you
right,
pick up your
you can
prospects
pull up
in New
here
Jersey.
and you can just say, okay, show me everybody in New Jersey. You can get more specific and say New Jersey, and you can just put, and let me see.
You can put the area code or like a tourist.
You can
city
just
or
put
whatever.
191 and find everybody in the Philadelphia area.
Got it.
Android on phones, you can put in like 717, going out to land, use 717, it's going to pull out everybody with the 717 number, 215-856, so I mean, this tab, you can be, you know, if you're going out there to see people and you say, you know what, who else is out there that maybe I'm not thinking about, but
Right.
if we're making a trip, why not?
I'm spending the day in Princeton, I got time to kill,
Yeah.
I might as well figure out, yeah. That's
Can you set workflows up for prospects like you do for clients?
You can, workflows can be set up for clients, prospects, whoever. So if you wanted to set up something for prospects and say, make sure that you contact them every 4 months, we would just, instead of setting up a call for every 90 days, every 120 days, you can set that up.
Look at keeping.
Yes. And the thing is, you can also make it very simple because right from in here, if you're not adding notes right away, you go to your contact, there is this process down here, so you're just putting someone in, you've got their name, you've got their phone number, you've got them in as a prospect, you can immediately add them to a process right from here as well.
What's that mean by process?
The workflow.
Workflow,
It's a
got it.
workflow process.
To remind the thing. I have just one more question, because this is a really, out of anything that you showed me today, this is something that a lot of us can use. So, like, I go to an event, I get the business cards. It happens literally every couple of days this happens. So I have my assistant put them in Outlook.
Right?
Okay, so they're all in my Outlook that is synced to my smart office. So those people are already in there. So I could go back in and tag them as prospects
Exactly.
and use that. Okay, okay. So that's what I'm gonna
Or
do.
save a step, put them in Smart Office first, not in Outlook, and then you can sync them over from Smart Office over into your Outlook.
But what I'm saying is I already have a ton of prospects in there that
Oh,
are in my
yes.
Outlook. So if I
And
go
if they've
through
already been
them,
synced up, yes, you
so I could,
absolutely can.
and then I can have a better list. Okay.
Right, and you can mass modify, so if you come in here and just do what's called an open search, okay? So if I say, and I'm just going to do it very generic, anybody who I have not coded as a client, and I'm just going to leave it blank, I'm clicking on this filter button right in the type field. So type, I want everybody who is blank. I'm just going to say that the people who
Oh,
are
so-
blank are not
okay.
prospects, or
Yeah.
are not clients.
Yeah.
From here, I can mass modify this entire list. And I need to click the view more to pull them all in. But under the menu button, there is an option under the advanced options to mass modify. So you can mass modify and say, I want the type, type, and mass modify that to prospects so that you don't have to open up every single one at a time.
Oh, so that's cooking with gas right there.
Right, so, this is just basic stuff for us, so this is the kind of thing that we can help you with, yes.
Can you send out a mass email without, but it's not a mass email, it's like individual emails?
Customize the email, yes. What we would do is we would set up a template in the letters, in the letter section. It's called template administration. And you just set that up and it would be, instead of the format with a letter where it's got the date, the name, address, and stuff like that, and then the dear, you would just set up an email format where it might be, you would pull in the first name, and that's it. And then what you would do is then you come in here, and this correspondence, so you can email right from here. You can either just launch the email, so launch email, and that's just to send a generic email, or you can click on it and it actually launches the correspondence wizard. So here is the option to email a letter. It's the first one. So you can send email, it'll be set up as a form letter. It won't look like a form letter to them, but it will be a form letter. And it will just say like, Dear Bill.
You know, they won't see everyone else.
It goes out as BCC.
So I have a further question then. So like, if you pull up a prospecting list and you want to send that whole list the same letter, you're not going to see on the top like all these emails like that you mass send it. But you can mass send it, but it's going to individually address each client.
So
But
yes.
we can't do that ourselves. We have to call the smart office.
Well, we can help you set up the letter, but just based on just generic, what you're talking about. So here I've tagged 50 records and I'm going to say,
Okay.
launch email. So this is going to launch my Outlook, and of course, I've got a bunch that don't have email addresses in there, but I'm just going to ignore it. So it's launching my Outlook for me. And this would be limited to the 200, because this is launching my PenMutual Outlook.
Okay.
Okay. And mine's failing because I'm using the training database. But what you would normally see when you're in your production environment is that all of the names would load into the BCC feed.
Oh, okay.
Okay? It would come to you, BCC'd everybody that's on the list. Okay?
And that's how everything else is hidden, that's,
Yes.
shows, okay.
But you want to put something to the to field.
What do you put in the to
Otherwise, they
field?
may get it into the junk basket.
What do you
Your
put,
email is going to the two.
I put down undisclosed clients. I put a dummy field in.
Okay? Yeah, we're just looking for one that's created this.
are you allowed to put a dummy field in Smart Office?
Well, that's what the custom fields are for.
I'm
If you
just-
actually
it was a
wanna create
joke.
Dummy field, you
It was a
certainly
joke.
can.
It was a joke. That was a joke.
You know, smart office, stupid office, dummy fields, do what you want. Right? Okay?
There, could you show just the referral tree? Because
Yes. So let me go to
Guys on
Joseph
Lawrence team,
Ackerman.
I think that's,
So we talked about, you know, sometimes clients, they might not buy much from you, but they refer a lot of people. So if we go to Joseph Ackerman, we can open this up, and we have to open him up in order to see it. But under the menu option, there is this customer referral value and customer referral visualizer. People really like the visualizer. I like the report, so I'm going to show you both. So the visualizer just basically creates this tree, right? Telling you, showing you, oh, come on. It's not liking something here. Normally what this would do is it would create an org chart where William Penn is up on top, and then it would show all the clients, say William Penn, and then William Penn, and then everybody that William Penn referred, and then say William Penn's son, who he referred. So you get this whole tree, and my laptop is not going to create it. So that's not going to work.
You could just do it as, for example, William, everyone that William Penn referred, and/or everyone that he's referred, plus the people that they've referred to by, correct?
Right, and then here's the chart. So this is telling you that Joseph Ackerman referred Robert Antonson, William Penn, and Richard Penn. But Robert Antonson also referred Dory Antonson and Robert Gardner. It also gives you the values, so that you know the exact value of what has been referred as a result of your relationship with William Penn.
But you have to break that in there, the refer.
You have
You
to
have
put
to
the
post,
referral.
put it in there.
Yes, on the client record, you do have to say that it was
Referred by.
referred. So for Robert Garner, it will say that he was referred by Joseph Ackerman.
Okay.
so
Okay.
Rosemary, for your 401K clients, like if you have the company name up top and then you have the employees, so you know what you make on the 401K and the benefits, now you can see the ancillary business of what you're making. off of
Yeah,
that.
that's what I was just thinking, like, this would be amazing.
Right, like, I think this is a great way to show, you know, this client might not be an A client in terms of
Exactly.
business he does with you guys, but if the person refers you this kind of business, he absolutely, or they're absolutely a person you need to stay in touch with.
He's
And by the
worth
way,
that Christmas
and you can quantify exactly what, right, because you can show investments, premium dollars, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. You know, so if you're doing a client appreciation event, and you're thinking, well, you know, I haven't gotten any life insurance from him. But if you've gotten all this other stuff, it's definitely worth that invite. Up. And the prospect report has been added to the database.
Yay.
So that quickly, so you will be able to go into, on your home page, and click this button, and you'll see, is it A, my prospects?
No, I just put my prospects, it just says
So it's
share.
my prospects, so.
Share.
Could you show how you go in there? I have my head down when you just, so can you show me how you went in there again?
To get that?
Yeah.
Or, for the report?
Yeah, see,
So I went to the Ackerman, Joseph Ackerman, my client.
no, the prospect.
Oh, the prospect list. Okay, in
Yeah,
order
see-
to get that?
So you started in Smart Office.
Right. So You will have this available in your database, but what you'll do is you'll come in, you'll click this plus sign,
Okay,
you'll scroll down, and you'll see My Prospects.
okay.
Click it. Click Create, and it will add it to the list for you.
Okay.
Okay? But if you don't have anybody coded as a prospect, initially it will be blank. So if you need us to help mass modify anybody who doesn't have any life insurance or investments or isn't a client, marked as a client, we can help. So that pretty much covers the dashboard, but I want to go back to William Penn's client record. Just to make sure that you understand all the information that's in here and what you can do. So up here, we've got the correspondence. That's any letters. That's email. That's, you can email letters. Marketing options, that's what you would use to add to a workflow process or a campaign of some kind. SmartPad. I can't stress enough the importance of the SmartPad records. So to add a new SmartPad record, you just click on it, the one with the little plus sign in Smart Office, anything with a plus sign means you add data. So, spoke to Bill about, so Jake is the child with autism, right? So need to talk to him about setting up a trust. In order to see the history of the SmartPad, you can click on this SmartPad note right up here, the SmartPad button, and you'll see all the history of all the notes that you've put in. And the SmartPad doesn't just keep manual notes, it includes all emails that have been posted, all emails that you've sent. It includes activities. It includes some changes you've made to the database. So if you go in and add a new phone number, it's going to post that phone number in here. If you change a phone number, it's going to keep track of the old phone number and say that this phone number was changed from blah, blah, blah.
Karen, it'll keep track of emails that start from Smart Office. However, if you
Right.
go from Outlook, it's going to ask you to post that
Yes.
email to Smart
That was
Office.
my question. So if I reply, if I send an email to somebody, then they send an email back and I reply via Microsoft Office, it will still be connected to.
So all you do is you would take this email and post to Smart Office. And I am not connected. I'm in the training environment, so I'm not connected.
You can set that up to do it automatically as long as their email matches the email in Smart Office. I think we did that.
There is, if it will match based on the recommended, if you've got the preferred email address set with the email address that you receive. But it's not guaranteed to work because if they got multiple email addresses, you really don't want a preferred.
Right.
So it
But
will give
you
you.
can set it up to do it, and then if it's not that, it asks you. It says, do you want to post this to?
Right. So you can search for another
Right.
contact. So say you get an email from an attorney and you want to put it on someone else's record, then you would also post it manually from there.
You have to be cautious with that because then also you have these same emails being, the answer, oh, yes, then that trail is being posted. Now also you have 10 emails where basically it's one answer responses. What time are we meeting? 10. Okay, see you then, great. And all of a sudden you got this, in your Smart Office notes, you have this long trail of emails showing the full conversation where it's not necessary.
Right. And that's, set up under the posting options where you can define what will be automatically posted or posted manually. So we basically have our default set up, so anything you send out of Smart Office will post automatically without asking you for confirmation. Anything that comes into Outlook or you send out of Outlook, it's going to ask you for confirmation first. So to know your client, that's what Dave was talking about. Key relations, that's where you can keep track of all the children, the professional relationships, business relationships. letters and documents. You'll see emails, all the letters, everything that you're sending out of here will be posted in the letters and documents section. We also have a tab for expenses that's available to you. If you want to keep track, I don't know too many people that are doing this for the EAP stuff, but if you want to keep track of the costs of getting that client, you know, you take them to lunch and you want to keep track for expense reporting purposes, or something along those lines, you can do that as well. In custom fields, this is where we really get a lot of bang for a buck out of this, so Scott Gordon is not a hobby. But you can build this and it can be customized, so not only the field name, so you can add any field, whatever you want, so
So you can write golf handicap, like you can tell, say
I'm
what
just
their
gonna call it a
handicap
favorite
is.
something. So, but it's going to add that to this. So I can change my fields at will. I can also customize them a little bit. So I talked about that favorite drink. I can customize my choices. Coffee, Coke, I can add a new one, I can remove them, or whatever. And actually, let me go back to the type field, because that's customizable as well. So you don't like looking at all 40 types. So what you can do is click on this customized choice, and yes, there are a lot here. So any that you don't want to see, you know, you can just hide. It's a one-time thing. You go in and you get rid of anything that you don't want to see. I don't know that I would want something coded as dead filed. So, but you manage this. What you want to see, what you don't want to see. So you can hide things, you can add things that you do want. Once you do that, it's a one-time thing, you're done. For the subtype, by default, it's blank. You can use subtype A. I've got it coded ABC, but if I want to add other pieces of criteria, I just click on that little blue button, and I say new, and